everybody, welcome back to the channel. I've got something for a friend of the channel here again today. It's Richard Simcott from the Polyglot Conference. Richard, where are you today?
Hello there, Gareth. Well, thank you for having me back. I'm in Skopje at the moment. We were kind of here and stuck here really as soon as the pandemic hit. So here we are, enjoying life at a restricted level, but yes, still looking for the good things to do and remaining positive, but negative as well.
So the Polyglot Conference, that's a nice segue in, is one of those good things perhaps to do in the coming weeks. Now, this event has been going, this will be the 7th year, I think. It's going to be online this year. Could you just briefly encapsulate, for anybody who doesn't know, what the Polyglot Conference is and who it's for?
Yeah, sure, of course. So the Polyglot Conference is called the Polyglot Conference because it was born out of what we identified as a polyglot community, people who love lots of languages online. Now, it's not actually for people who are polyglots necessarily, although polyglots are obviously welcome. It's for anyone who loves language. So if you're interested in learning your first language or you're just interested in the topic of languages, then there's something for you as well. I think the only real thing that you need to bring with you is a smile, a cheery disposition, and sort of be ready to make friends. And that's pretty much all we ask for.
Now, a feature of the conference has been that it's moved around each year, being in places like New York, in Iceland, in Japan last year. It's given me as an attendee an excuse to travel the world. And yes. I'm hoping very much this autumn, you know, in the coming weeks, to be in Mexico for the Cholula event. So you've taken the decision to move online. I remember you announced that, I think it was at or about the time of the Polyglot Gathering in the early summer. So after all the excitement of the announcement of the new venue in Fukuoka last year, it must have been a difficult one to call. How was it in the early months of the year, as I suppose the unthinkable started to loom?
Yeah, it was particularly strange because I went for my Recce Trip, which is a trip I take to the new venue just to check out the venue, to make sure everything's going to work as we intended to work, to meet with potential local sponsors and partners, people who have got a vested interest in the conference. So I tend to do that in January, and I went to Mexico and did that. And obviously, it all looked amazing. I was extremely excited. I came away thinking exactly the right place to have the conference. Cholula is a fantastic place. Mexico, the Mexicans themselves are just lovely, lovely people. And I was really excited. And I met with Anya, who's obviously working with me for Mexico, but also this year, actually, for this year's conference. Anyway, she stayed with the team. And I was extremely excited. And of course, as things moved on and we had the language event in Edinburgh, and I think that was the last real event that took place in anyone's calendar in person. And we arrived back at the very start of March. It was that very first March weekend. It finished, right? The last day of February, the first day of March. Got back home and things just seemed to get worse and worse. And I'd say, oh dear, this doesn't look good. And I was thinking about the gathering and watching what the gathering was going to do. And I didn't want to announce anything until the gathering had taken place. It just didn't make sense to sort of rain on their parade. And also I wanted them to make sure that they had their event and everything was focused on that. And that was, so I wanted to see how it went and how it went for them as well. And so I went to the gathering, I spoke at the event, and I really enjoyed it. And it gave me a renewed sort of sense of, okay, this can work. And it became very clear, really, that we had to make a decision. And it felt like the right decision for everybody. And I think, obviously, now that's definitely confirmed as the right decision. Holding an event in Mexico right now would not be really possible at the moment. So with the hope that we return to Cholula in 2021, we're going to be making this a global event. Now, I didn't want at any stage to make this a virtual event or a virtual conference, as in an inferior version of an in-person event. So what I decided to do was make it a global event that really took advantage of the advantages of having an online environment. And there are many of them. So one thing is, you don't have to rely on things that could go wrong, whether it's in person or online. You can pre-record presentations and drop them like a Netflix and chill, which is one of the big advantages people saw of the pandemic when it first came out. Oh, I can binge watch all of these things. Well, now you're going to have a chance to binge watch all the talks that you want to watch, and submit your questions in advance so that we can collate them and ask them in a very neat and tidy way. And we can expand the conference out. We don't have to have it over a weekend. We can have it over 10 days, which is what we're doing, from the 16th to the 25th of October. So you get, as a participant, to enjoy the real benefits of meeting with people over a longer period of time, not thinking, oh, I wish we had an extra day. You've got 10 days this year. You've got 10 days to watch all of the presentations as well. People are going back to work. People have got family situations. People are in very different places right now, whether lockdown or reduced mobility for whatever reason. They've got things that they've got going on in their lives. They can't just disappear into a side room in their house or apartment, or go away from their families potentially for a 2-day or 3-day event. So the beauty of having over 10 days means that people can dip into the conference all around the world. If they've got the connection to the internet and they want to come and they've got that nice smile and cheery disposition, then anyone and everyone can join. So it really is truly global. And there's no strict regime of sort of people having to be there at a certain time to listen to a certain talk or to be there for a certain thing. We will obviously have events going on, but they will run right around the clock. So there's no fear of missing out. Everybody's in the same boat. Sometimes we need to sleep and we can't go to everything. Sometimes we'll be awake and people will be online and we can enjoy each other's company.
So there'll be a scheduled program, but it won't be, back to back then with talks?
No, exactly.
First. And you mentioned some of the talks will be recorded. Will some of them be live as well? I think the gathering, all of them were live, I think.
Maybe we're not having. We're not going to have none of the actual talks will be live. None of the talks will be live. The reasoning behind that is to take advantage of that Netflix and chill thing, and also people want to watch things sometimes in their own time. And I also don't want people to have a fear of missing out on a live talk because they happen to be in Australia or in California or wherever they are in the world, or they're working or they've got another commitment. They can watch them and everyone's in the same position. There's no sort of discriminating, oh, you're not around for this in terms of the talks. Obviously, we have to have a certain type of schedule to give some form and shape to the conference. But what's really cool is that we're going to have spaces and rooms for you to talk to each other via the forum. You can find people you want to do a language exchanges with. You can meet in the virtual conference as well, talk to each other, agree maybe language exchanges amongst other participants. You'll have italki are going to bring some of their teachers to have times throughout the entire 10 days where you can have structured conversations with a teacher, and you can go through and we can have rooms set up for lots of different things. And so there is going to be some sort of structure, but it's also going to be flexible. So we can add things in, and the program is going to be dynamic. So that means that anybody who thinks, do you know what, actually, I'm at this, I didn't really imagine it, but I feel inspired to do a workshop on Welsh. Let's say it's Welsh or whatever it is. And you can give us notice of about 24 hours and just say, want to do this workshop, let us know. As long as we've got enough of a window over a 10-day period we can start scheduling things in that you want to add into the program to enrich it. Yep. It's very much what you put in, you get out of this event. And if you're somewhere on the other side of the world and you think, well, do you know what? Actually, we don't have anything for Maori and we're in New Zealand and we'd love to have that. If you can do a Maori workshop or conversation group, we can schedule that in too.
So when I log in at the beginning, you will have all the talks or a bank of talks already up your sleeve, but they will not all be visible to me straight away. They will be released gradually. Is that right? And then I'll be able to go back to them, or How will it?
Nope. It's a Netflix drop. It's a complete drop. So all of the talks from all of the people speaking will be available as soon as we open the conference.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's very different
So
from gathering. Yes.
Yeah, it's very different in that we don't want to make you wait. If you want to do a binge weekend for the first weekend to have something to talk about, or you want to get your questions in for the talks you want to watch particularly, or let's say, for example, over the 10 days, you say, actually, there are only 5 talks I really want to watch. Well, you can prioritize those at the start of the week if you want, or you can leave them to the end of the week. It's entirely up to you. It's super flexible. And it means that if you do it at the start of the week, you've got time to get questions in for us to collate them, give them to the speakers so they can create response videos, or maybe we do a live element. It depends on what's possible and what, from the speaker's point of view, but also from people who are participating's point of view. If you prefer them to be recorded responses, I don't really see the need to have a live response or a live presentation, because really the only thing you get from that is if you're sitting there in person and you get to interact with people, but you don't get that anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
And you can ask questions and have a response video, and I think it probably works as well. And you remember that these people are going to be around in the environment, right? So if you want to meet with them, we can also set up places where they can be available for people who want to meet with them in person online, but in person in the global environment, right? So there are those opportunities, and it also frees up our poor speakers who I know are having organized these conferences over the last, as you say, 7-8 years that I've been sort of working on the conference. It frees them up from this whole, I've got to make sure I'm ready. I've got to get all my stuff prepared. I've got to read over my notes. I've got to test it. Is it working? Is it all okay? You know the feeling, Gareth, as well as anyone. And you almost miss out on half of the event, right? Because you're so into what you're doing that you're half there. Whereas this time, you don't have to be half there. You can be fully committed to this, answering questions as well if you want to on your own videos. But you can be fully committed to the event yourself as a speaker. No nerves, no panic on the Titanic. You're there.
It must have been quite a technical challenge and an ongoing one, I suppose, behind the scenes to set all this up. Are you working with a team on that? How's that been?
So it's been, to set up any event is a job and a half, and especially when you work already full time. And this has always been a kind of a hobby for me, doing this. The Polyglot Conference started as kind of a puppy that I found on the side of the street, not realizing that it turned into a Saint Bernard and took over the entire house. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Anya's been co-organizing with me. She's been great. And also Paulino has been helping on sort of helping people, speakers particularly, who are putting together videos with some tech support and helping with that. I've had some side help, and I just need to huge shout out to Adam and Judith. When the original plan for the conference appeared not to be what was possible, they stepped in. So that's Adam Scott and Judith Meyer. Stepped in and really helped with putting the forum together, making the website something that I could manage and you could get into to update, so that we could work on that. And you've been working with a team of volunteers for subtitles for videos, so that's also been, obviously help that we've needed and had to do. And then CMOS was around to help create the intros and the outros for each videos. So each video that we get in from speakers, I basically put the intro and the outro either side to it, glob them on, and then upload them ready. And then what we'll do is we'll have them as kind of a big reveal on Friday, on the very first day of the conference. I imagine I'm going to be getting the last minute ones. Oh, my video is not quite ready, so I need to. So I'll probably have a couple of those still to do, even on the Friday, I'm guessing. But so far, I've been through over, I think it's about 50 or 60 videos ready. presentations. And we've got a nice range of stuff as well, things that are kind of done from a very personal point of view, things that are sort of very sort of TV ready professional sort of type stuff, things that are your traditional type of presentation that you'd expect at any type of event like this. Others are in different languages as well, which is good. We have still got quite a lot of stuff in English. And I always say, you know, this year we do have the advantage if you don't need to use English, you can use any language. It doesn't matter. I'm going to give you a slight hint of some things that are cool. Like Tim Keeley's put together his story of his language learning journey, and he's doing that in different languages for people to get that language content, right? And one of the things he's done
on the program online, Richard, was just part one, so he's got so many languages he may have to split it up.
He has, and he's done it in different languages. So one of the cool things that isn't uploaded, or this is kind of a unique thing just for you, really, and for your viewers. So he's got this series. At the moment, I've got 12 parts in Zulu of Tim's story. So anybody interested in Zulu and listening to the language and learning more about it, this is going to be a really useful tool for anybody interested in supplementing their own learning. It's additional material. He's had his Zulu teacher record the audio so that you've got a really authentic sort of native speaker of Zulu reading Tim's story in Zulu with the translation already in English, which I think as a tool for anybody in the future is great. What a great resource to have. And that's exactly a window into my world, which is the general overview of this whole conference. It's the overarching theme, right? So we've got some really cool stuff, really, really cool stuff.
And so there are other people talking about their language stories as well. There's Ermi Padetta talking about how being an Italian living in Britain has changed her perspectives on language and identity. And one or two of the method talks sort of moved in the direction of identity as well, I think. Was it Tatiana? Is it Taranova? A Russian who was about she works with Russians learning English, how you can imagine a language as almost like a living being with a character and an identity.
Exactly. I mean, there is a lovely variety this year of talks from very different people in very different places and parts of the world, and I've got to say, I mean, I've watched some of them through. I've not had time to physically watch all of them all the way through. As you can imagine, it's a pretty busy time, and that would take me a lot of viewing hours. And my main thing is to actually get it practically up and running so that everyone can enjoy it. But I have watched a lot of snippets of a lot of talks, and I've watched a couple of them right the way through, and very much enjoyed what I've seen. I find it really moving and inspiring that as a community we've come together to create something for each other. And I think this is the really important thing is we make the content we enjoy seeing as a community, and we entertain each other and inform each other, and really we are the community. And this really comes through at the conference this year particularly, and I've really enjoyed watching all of that magic happen.
There are some talks on method as usual. I think someone using digital technology, approaching languages. Yukuyo Odate was talking about approaching very different languages from your own, from her work working as a Japanese native speaker with Japanese learners of English, which sort of for me as a beginning Japanese learner, I thought, I want to listen to that. Somebody talking about language coaching as a technique, I think. And then there seemed to be a block, as I'd expect from you, I think, of talks on indigenous and minority languages.
Yeah, and we've got so many more things that are not even on the website yet to come. There are going to be quite a number of new talks. italki, as our main sponsor this year, they have produced some incredible videos. I had the pleasure of a sneak preview of one of them, and it was I'm going to sort of drop something. Sorry, italki, if you're listening and you didn't want me to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's too cool to not share. They had one about Welsh, being a Welsh tutor on italki, and the way it's been recorded is just like, it blew me away. It just blew me away, the way they've done it. They've got a similar thing on ASL as well. And again, I'm super excited about these really cool things that they've really got the conference this year. They've really, as a sponsor, I couldn't wish for more than to get it in that way, and to produce so much and to invest so much into the content and into the into the rooms that they're going to have, the practice rooms. Amazing. And I did a live yesterday on Instagram, and likewise the Teach Yourself Michelle Thomas people found out for the first time possibly that they're under the same sort of larger umbrella, right? They've also created some really cool things. They've got these famous faces within our community doing sort of, you yourself are included, right, Gareth? So coming out, learning a language, just it's mind-blowing, the kind of things as a community with our sponsors together that we're creating. It's just yeah. And I every year I get great input from Asimil, and Nicolas has been with us in person at many of the events, and I just get so much inspiration from the sponsors and from people represented. It's just
So people are really rising to the occasion. How does the Langfest fit in? Because originally they were going to arrange a lot of the social events. I think you were going to do a combined event down in Mexico.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Tetsu and the Langfest team, along with UTalk, who are their sponsors traditionally and are partnering with us along with Langfest this year.
They're always so friendly as well.
They are not only super friendly, they have some really nice ideas, and they've been running these quizzes in the run-up to the conference that we've advertised obviously on social media and on the website now as well through the forum. And I encourage anyone to join today. We've got one going on today. Probably not going to go live right away, is it? But if you see any others coming up, please do join. But the quizzes, if you go into the room on Zoom and join the quiz, there's a real feeling of camaraderie, of like, there's this almost palpable, like you're in person. It's actually quite a cool feeling. And I've really enjoyed what they've done, and they're going to be doing things all the way through the event as well. They've again embraced it, got behind it. They're doing their part to make it a really special event, and I honestly couldn't ask for more from partners. And there are probably too many people to thank, and I hate to think that I've not thanked everyone or appreciated everyone, but I really do. It's just there are too many really cool things that it's almost overwhelming actually this year.
So people can find out about some at least of what's going to be going on, but not all of it, I think, because there seems to be so much at polyglotconference.com.
Yeah.
We're talking about the 16th to the 25th of October. Does the site close down at the end of the 25th? Because in the past you put videos up on YouTube afterwards. What's the ongoing plan?
Wow, now there's a question. So this year has been a game changer for the conference, for sure. And we now actually have a forum on the actual website, and it's highly unlikely that the forum will disappear. And with this, I think that we will be making an announcement at the end of the conference as to how we plan to move forward. And I don't want to ruin that tradition, but yes, we've got some little surprises up our sleeves for people. As usual, I do like to have that kind of element of what's happening. And I think just because we're having a global conference this year doesn't mean we can't have that element. Obviously, it's already known that we do hope to go to Cholula in 2021. So there's not the big reveal of where are we going in 2021. Well, Cholula's Cholula, and Cholula is staying where it is. And I still believe that that is an absolutely incredible destination, and that all things going as they should and going well, I really hope that we get to meet up in person in Cholula next year. But you know, nothing's easy to predict at the moment. We're in a very strange, unpredictable, and a new era, I think, with what's going on. So we have to be cautious as well. So that's exactly what we're doing. So there's some very exciting, what I would like to say, some very exciting things that we're building out of this year.
We'll all be waiting with anticipation. What about tickets? Can you buy a ticket online, or how does one register?
Okay, so this year, my decision was to rebrand the conference Polyglot Conference Global. And in order to do that, I think that you have to not just encourage people to come, but also make it possible for people to come. I mean, obviously we can't get over the need for a computer and internet and things like that. There has to be a bare minimum that people have to be able to achieve in terms of from their own means. We can't afford to sort of send out computers and internet connections to people. What we can do is we can minimize cost to individuals. So what we're doing is we're going to do a donation basis, and we will announce donations. We've not done that yet. We've just said it is going to be donation based, and we'll write a suggested donation. People are invited to pay more or less. It's entirely up to your means. For the donation on the site, there is a minimum normally of like $1 or €1, whatever it is, just because that's how the site works. However, we will make a provision for anyone who cannot, for whatever reason, whether it's financial, whether it's technically it doesn't work in wherever you are, because sometimes people can't donate, not because they can't afford it, but just physically it's impossible to donate. They don't have cards, they don't have internet banking, they can't really go to the bank and send $1 because it would cost more in charges than to send it. So we will have a provision. So anyone who wants to come will be welcome to come. They will need to fill out a form of some sort to be able to make that possible, but everyone will be welcome. And everyone is welcome to register for the site and to join the forum already. So that's already in place so that you can start talking to each other, getting to know each other, introduce yourselves, and start identifying people who are going to be coming to the conference you'd like to maybe meet up with in the virtual environment and get to know and chat with, and select a time and agree a time or a day that you want to meet with each other.
And we're recording this, Richard, a couple of weeks now before the event starts. If somebody sees this during the event, can they still join? Presumably people can join up at any time then. So.
You can join at any time. And let's say, for example, you're like, okay, I don't even know what this is going to be like. Is this even going to be something I'd want to donate to? Well, first of all, you're welcome if you can donate or not, or if you want to donate or not, you're welcome. If you come to the event and you enjoy it, you can also donate later. If you think, okay, actually that was quite good, I'll give you a tip. but the other thing that you can do is, because it's online, because it's going to be a global event, if you see this and it's halfway through and you think, oh, well, is it worth it? Well, yeah, of course it's worth it, because there's still going to be, even if you sign up the day before it ends, you're still going to get the advantage of meeting with people. You can still practice your languages. If you can practice all the way through, fantastic. If you can practice just the last couple of days, also worth doing, because you can still watch some of the videos. You can still practice your languages and meet people and join in some of the events that are taking place. There's no missing out this year. And I can't really stress that enough. You really can join us. It's as flexible as it can possibly be.
Great. Okay. Well, that is as good a place as any, I think, to wind things up. We've covered a lot of ground. I certainly hadn't conceptualized how exactly it was going to work. Now I'm much clearer. I'm excited about the program. Folks, I put the link underneath this video. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Richard, thank you very much for taking time out from your busy schedule to get us all worked up and ready for the event, and best of luck with it.
Thank you so much for having me, Gareth. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your support particularly. You've always been such a great champion of the conference, and it doesn't go unnoticed, and I really appreciate it, so thank you.
Thanks a lot, folks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Is that done? Are we done?